Sometimes we may even sabotage opportunities to shift frequencies because the old ones feel so familiar. So, have you ever seen someone push away kindness because deep down they don't believe they deserve it? This is how deeply ingrained frequencies operate until we become aware of them. So, let's dive in a little more about what is meant by frequency. Think of it like a radio station. Each thought, belief, and emotion broadcasts at a certain frequency. Some people call it a certain vibration. And these frequencies create peace, clarity, and joy, while others reinforce anxiety, doubt, self judgment, for example. Welcome to Quiet Mind, Fearless and Free, where we explore what it means to release anxiety, quiet the mind, and return to the peace of your true self. I'm Leah Danley, a longtime mental health therapist, spiritual seeker, and fellow traveler on this journey of waking up from fear-based thinking. Together, we'll look at the stories that shape us, the beliefs that hold us back, and the freedom that comes when we let them go. A quick note, this podcast is for educational and personal growth purposes only. It's not a substitute for therapy or medical advice. Please take what resonates and seek professional support if needed. Now let's dive in. The frequency we're on is shaped by the stories we've told ourselves. Stories built from personal history, generational trauma, cultural messages, and more. But just like a radio, we can shift to a different frequency at any time. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in the same emotional loops? Like no matter what you do, you keep tuning in to the same fear, anxiety, or self-doubt? What if I told you that it's not random? That just like a radio, your mind is dialed into a particular frequency, but you actually have the power to change the channel. Imagine sitting in front of a radio with dozens of dials. You keep turning to the same two, guilt and fear. Not because you want to, but because it's familiar. Meanwhile, right next to them, other dials exist: compassion, joy, safety. But if you never turn towards them, you don't even realize they're available to you. In episode 2, we talked about how our core beliefs, our experience, many of those beliefs like I'm not good enough, I'm unsafe, I have to be perfect, act like preset stations on our internal radio. These frequencies are reinforced by personal experiences, generational trauma, cultural conditioning, and more. Remember the coat analogy from episode 3, how we develop protective patterns to shield ourselves from pain. These patterns keep us locked into familiar channels. And just like we explored in episode 5, releasing control, the more we grip onto these stations, the more we struggle and suffer. But when we soften, when we allow ourselves to be curious about what else is there, new frequencies become possible. When I was 8 years old, my dad forgot to pick me up from school. I remember wandering that playground for what seemed like hours. Probably was only 30 minutes, 45 at the most. But in my child's mind, I felt forgotten. I felt unloved. I slowly formed the belief I don't matter. That belief was already coming online. And this is one of those touchstone experiences that really seemed to solidify it in that 8-year-old brain. That belief became a frequency that I tuned into for years. Later in life, when someone would forget something small or big, like a birthday, or just forget to show up when they said they were going to show up, or forget an appointment that we had together, or just big and little things, I would instantly reinforce that same frequency, collecting proof for the old belief I don't matter. It wasn't until I learned to shift my frequency that I could see all the times I was actually remembered, actually loved, actually valued over and over, so many more times than the other. Sometimes we may even sabotage opportunities to shift frequencies because the old ones feel so familiar. So, have you ever seen someone push away kindness because deep down they don't believe they deserve it? This is how deeply ingrained frequencies operate until we become aware of them. So, let's dive in a little more about what is meant by frequency. Think of it like a radio station. Each thought, belief, and emotion broadcasts at a certain frequency. Some people call it a certain vibration. And these frequencies create peace, clarity, and joy, while others reinforce anxiety, doubt, self judgment. For example, we don't consciously choose the frequency we tune into. It's shaped by our past experiences, our childhood conditioning, cultural programming, and other things. If we grew up believing we weren't enough or that we had to be perfect to be loved, our minds naturally tune into those stations, reinforcing the same messages over and over. But what if we could shift the frequency? Just like adjusting the dial on a radio. We can begin to notice when we're stuck on an old station, telling an old story, not questioning whether it's true, but accepting that it's fact. And then our bodies often will chime in. We'll have body sensations that go along with it. And then we'll have a big emotional feeling and we'll just be so sure that this is truth. But hey, feelings are not facts, they're wirings that culminate in a moment and come online and really generate a very powerful story. But we can adjust this dial on the radio by noticing when we're stuck on that old station and gently move towards a different one that feels lighter, more open, and connected. So, how? Well, the first step is awareness. Gentle, loving curiosity along with awareness. When you can catch yourself spiraling into a familiar thought or feeling that's based in, let's say, I'm not good enough, or no one cares about me, or I'll always fail, or something's wrong with me, I don't belong, it's my fault, I'm not safe. These are all real common ones. Notice it and take a breath. Ask yourself, what station am I tuned into right now? Is this the only one available to me? The truth is beyond the conditioned mind. There's a steady, unshakable frequency always available, one of peace, wholeness, and creativity. It's not based on circumstances or what's happening in the world around you. It's who you truly are beneath the noise, beneath the stories. And the more we practice shifting our awareness to that station, the more we remember our own inherent safety, love, and presence. So, how does our frequency shape our reality? We're constantly emitting these energies through our thoughts and emotions like a signal going out into the world. Think of it like a radio wave. You can't see it, but it's real. The frequency you tune into determines the station you hear. Likewise, the energy you focus on determines what you experience more of. This isn't about magically attracting things, it's about perception. When we shift our focus, we begin to notice opportunities, kindness, and possibilities that were always there but had been filtered out by a negative frequency. A powerful way to reinforce new frequencies is through small daily habits. This could be taking a few moments to express gratitude, actively looking for signs of kindness in your day, or even writing down moments where you felt safe and supported. These actions help solidify a new station so that over time it becomes the one you naturally tune into. It's not just about thoughts, it's about your entire way of being. The more you practice shifting into gratitude, curiosity, and presence, the more natural it becomes to live from a place of peace and openness instead of fear and limitation. So, as you go through your day, notice what channels you've tuned into. Is it reinforcing an old belief or is it inviting you into something new? The radio is always playing, but you get to choose what station you listen to. The more you shift toward frequencies of peace, compassion, and self love, the more your reality begins to reflect that. A small way to start shifting your frequency is to start a daily gratitude practice and start where you are. I'm not asking you to Pollyanna your way through or put lipstick on a pig. Working towards a positive outlook doesn't mean lying. If you don't feel grateful, you may start with being grateful that you are willing to be grateful, or willing to see differently, or willing to have a shift in perception. Be where you're at. The point is to tune your attention away from the same channel, taking it for granted, and to look around. Notice what other thoughts and experiences you are willing to be open to and to interpret differently. And remember, you are not the thoughts or the stories. You are the one tuning in. I hope this was helpful today. Please check out my Instagram at Quiet Mind Collective with Leah. There's links in the bio of opportunities, many that are free. There's a course that will be coming. And if you'll go to my website, quietcollective.com, you can put your name in that pre-sale and get some information. Be one of the first people to find out about this course. It's going to be the foundations of Quiet Mind, Fearless and Free. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode resonated with you, I invite you to explore more at QuietMindCollective.com, where you'll find meditations, courses, and other resources to support your journey. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Quiet Mind Collective with Leah for daily insights and community. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to follow the podcast on Apple or Spotify. And if you feel inspired, leave a quick rating and review. It really helps others find this message. And of course, share this with anyone who could use a little more peace in their life. This journey isn't about fixing ourselves. It's about remembering who we are beneath the noise of the mind. And when we quiet the mind and open the heart, we realize we already had everything we needed to be fearless and free.